What are the main changes between the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the iPhone 16 Pro Max? September is here, and how have we not already called it iPhone month? It's Apple's favorite time of year since they unveil and release their new iPhones. This year will be no different. The iPhone 17 series has officially announced yesterday, and we already know almost everything there is to know about the phone's hardware. Hey guys, welcome to ZaidiEsTech. You are here with Zahid. There will be some changes to the lineup, and we'll say goodbye to the iPhone Plus range for now, and hello to the iPhone 17 Air. But the iPhone 17 Pro Max will be the most interesting and innovative new iPhone. This one will keep the trend of being the greatest and most advanced iPhone with the highest price tag, at least until the foldable iPhone comes out. This year, Apple is playing it rather safe, as has been the case for the last few iPhone releases. There are some interesting improvements happening both inside and outside, but nothing too out of the ordinary. Just a good quantity of new features that fit neatly into the bento grid at the conclusion of the Apple event. Would any of these new features make the old iPhone 16 Pro Max look bad? Of course not, but it's still important to list all the changes. 1. Design and size. The iPhone 17 Pro Max will be very different from the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The phone is scoring a camera island at the rear, which will span side to side. It reminds us of the camera strips on Google's Pixel phones, just wider. That would be a drastic difference in comparison with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which used a polished yet mostly familiar and essentially unchanged design language in comparison with its predecessors. But hey, a little change never hurt anybody. We only hope that Apple nails the weight distribution so that the iPhone 17 Pro Max doesn't feel too top-heavy. 2. Dimensions. In terms of dimension, the iPhone 17 Pro Max might get slightly thicker at 8.73mm against the iPhone 16 Pro Max's 8.25mm size. It looks Apple will be filling all that extra space with batteries, which is always great. There are reports saying that Apple might turn its head away from titanium and come back to aluminum with the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which would make the overall assembly somewhat lighter and more cost-effective, but at the cost of diminished premium street cred. The frame will be more broad now and stretch more to the back, leading to a type of tool-toned look at the rear of the gadget. The camera control and action button keys will remain a feature here, with Apple not expecting to make any big changes to the arrangement. In terms of colors, Apple is rumored to be exploring a slightly more intriguing color selection for the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which will reportedly feature an intriguing copper-like color and a deep blue hue, which honestly sounds like a very decent color selection, especially when you compare it against the more drab colors on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. At the same time, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is available in natural titanium, desert titanium, white titanium, and black titanium. 3. Display differences. The iPhone 17 Pro Max will sport a 6.9-inch Liquid Retina XDR display once again, with the now standard on-prom model's 120Hz ProMotion technology for the best scrolling experience. These main specs are likewise shared with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. However, the iPhone 17 Pro Max likely include a somewhat smaller dynamic Highland notch. Historically, this wouldn't be the first time Apple has shrunk the cutout at the front. Back with the iPhone 13 generation, Apple diminished the display notch by 20% in comparison with the prior generations, leaving more screen real estate accessible to the user. The dynamic island is yet to receive such a modification. And that's a natural stopgap till we get an uninterrupted screen on a future iPhone model. Another conceivable enhancement might be Apple's adoption of Samsung's M14 OLED screen, which could substantially increase the maximum peak brightness from 2000 nits today to around 3000 nits in the ideal atmosphere. At the same time, the minimum brightness will continue gravitate around 1 nit, like with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. We'd definitely appreciate it if Apple contemplated putting an anti-reflective coating on the screen, which would largely remove reflections and increase the legibility under bright outside situations. However, no such rumors exist, which is surely a bummer. 4. Performance and software. The forthcoming iPhone 17 Pro Max would undoubtedly employ the Apple A19 Pro chipset, which would be Apple's 3rd Gen 3nm chipset, and we expect increased performance and efficiency, as compared to the Apple A18 Pro and the A17 Pro chips. However, we don't anticipate to notice a huge performance gain over the A18 Pro that's inside the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The differences can be minimal, so you probably won't gain that much if you upgrade. What you could notice, however, is the increased capacity that could make it into the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Rumors put 12 GB of RAM inside, a substantial increase over the 8 GB of RAM in the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This improvement is anticipated to bolster the device's future-proofness as far as on-device Apple Intelligence processing goes. Yes, artificial intelligence consumes numerous resources, but multitasking might potentially see an improvement as well. Interestingly, Apple Intelligence was one of the primary reasons why the iPhone 16 Pro Max acquired 8 GB of RAM in comparison with its predecessor as well. We can't say we have any issues with this yearly memory improvement. The more, the merrier. The repeating theme is the radical liquid glass revamp, which Apple is billing as its most important visual update in a decade. You may embrace the chaos and enable the clear look, a fully translucent, glassy theme if you choose, and you will get something that looks a lot like it crawled back from the Windows Vista days, or you can just go with the more toned-down and traditional style. The most practical reforms are directed at communication. A new call screening tool arrives to spare us from calls about our non-existent car accidents, a public service if ever there was one. This useful filtering will also apply to spamming texts. Live Translate for calls is also making its debut on iOS. We are cautiously optimistic about this, but let's wait and see if this becomes a game-changer for travel or simply a source of humorous mistranslations. Aside from appearances alone, there are several very useful-sounding upgrades. The camera app is being decluttered to simply photo and video by default, a quiet comfort for the minimalists among us. And Apple is promised to finally straighten out the Photos app jumble, making albums easier to find. Naturally, there are other bits and bobs. You'll receive polls and group chats so that your buddies can finally vote on a restaurant and personalized backdrops to leaven up your talks. It all sounds perfectly sensible. 5. Camera. Aside from the larger camera island at the back, which might soon equal the Las Vegas Strip in terms of size, the rear camera assembly is apparently getting some enhancements. It seems Apple will eventually switch to a higher-res periscope camera, purportedly a 48 megapixels one, a clear advance over the 12 megapixels, one that debuted with the iPhone 15 Pro Max and was also utilized on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. With a higher-res periscope camera, Apple will be able to apply in-sensor cropping for increased hybrid zoom, which effectively means possibly longer zoom with lossless optical fidelity. How long exactly? Well, the rumor mill suggests we should anticipate up to 8x optical zoom on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and that sounds like a reach for Cupertino. What's a bit more likely is for the new 48 megapixels periscope to feature a 4x native optical zoom, but thanks to in-sensor cropping, the camera will most probably offer 8x lossless zoom. That'd be mostly comparable to how the standard iPhone offers a 2x option even though it lacks a telephoto lens. It's the in-sensor cropping that accomplishes the magic. There are rumors that Apple will also introduce a new Pro Camera app with expanded camera controls, which will also allow you to take vlogger-style videos with both the rear and front cameras simultaneously, which is something many Android phones have been capable of doing for more than a decade. Apple might also feature 8K video recording for the first time on the iPhone series. This feature will most definitely remain unique to the Pro versions, though. A major change could take place at the front. The iPhone 16 Pro Max's 12 megapixels FaceTime camera might get upgraded to 24 megapixels on the iPhone 17 Pro Max for higher quality selfies and video chats. 6. Battery life and charging. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is the current title holder when it comes to battery sizes on iPhones. However, speculations indicate that glory might soon come to its rapid end. The 4,685 mAh battery on board could be overtaken by the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which is supposedly scoring a 5,000 mAh battery, or thereabouts. That would easily make the forthcoming handset the one with the greatest battery in the history of iPhones so far. The mentioned depth increase could allow for a larger dual-stacked battery at the rear of the iPhone 17 Pro Max, but the perfection of the stacking technology might be the main reason we could potentially see a denser battery here. We presently don't expect any big modifications or enhancements to the charging speeds. While it technically supports up to 30 watts of cable charging, the iPhone 16 Pro Max could draw up to 40 watts of wired charging in certain conditions, while its MagSafe 2.0 charging speeds peak out at 25 watts. We expect the same to be true of the iPhone 17 Pro Max as well. Overall, it appears like the iPhone 17 Pro Max will bring a ton of improvements in most major areas, including the display, design, performance, and battery life, establishing itself as a bait upgrade over the iPhone 16 Pro Max. However, this doesn't mean that the iPhone 16 Pro Max will automatically become old, no. It will still be a potent and capable instrument for years to come. That's logical to expect. While people now upgrade every 3 years or more seldom, the latest top iPhone is usually not aimed at those who bought last year's best model. This is why iPhone 16 Pro Max customers will most surely find little need to upgrade to the handset. It's more or less intended at holdouts of iPhones older than the iPhone 14 Pro Max, where it will definitely present a substantially better value. However, there's no disputing that the iPhone 17 Pro Max will be the cream of the crop for the second part of 2025, at least in the Apple camp and Android's greatest phones beta ready. So, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to ZaidiEsTech for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.